once again a very good morning. It's once again because yesterday was a good morning. So, and thank you very much with us for today here. And our today's session, I will just quickly and briefly tell you the schedule. I will have the next 20-30 minutes to introduce you what my team and us are doing here in Asset in UTS. And then after that, we have our first keynote speech for today with Leonardo, who is here with us. Yes, no? Okay, maybe. He was here with us. We brought him to the campus, that I know. Okay, so, and after that, we will have parallel session. Dr. Masita is here as well as Kat is here with us. We will have a 1 hour break for lunch, and then after the lunch we will go by bus to Foochow World Heritage Gallery, and where Liz and Gary and myself, we will have a workshop with the community on the storytelling. So with a very quick background of this event, that when we were organizing it, and the main ideas behind was, it's also coming somehow from the title, the Emerging Spaces for ICT 4D and Participatory Design. Even at the level of ICT 4D, we had this discussion 2-3 years ago that many of the projects that we are doing here in this part of the world, we sometimes don't call it ICT for development, but it is still in that domain. Why that domain we need, or why it's also somehow to position ourselves in terms of academically. There is a great tension in Malaysia about it, actually, for the last, I think, 10 to 14 or 15 years in the research space. And it has a very adverse effect on the PhD and especially the PhD students, that how you position yourself in computer sciences if you are in a transdisciplinary space. And you need to position yourself actually when you are a PhD student, because then you need to defend your thesis or whatsoever. So those things are there. There are very few people who understand it, but the understanding at the institution level is not yet developed. Then suddenly we start talking about participatory design. Oh, another thing came. We haven't yet settled with ICT for development, now participatory design. And we were thinking it has a great potential in this part of the world if we position ourselves in that side, because it is somehow a space in the design, and the HCI is the nearest part that which can actually support us. So for this event, we were specifically thinking about how we can bring together the ICT 4D community and the participatory design community or practitioner, and then we start thinking about it, how we can position ourselves. Okay, so and if the background picture you can see, there are 2 rivers meet with each other. This is my favorite place, Long Lamai. Ezra is here. And there is a reason for that. That's how I use this picture. In Asset, our learning labs, where actually we usually go and engage with our communities, and we create a space for co-learning. Something we learn, something they learn from us, and we worked together on that. Currently, yes, of course, here in Bawangasan, Cebu, the middle region, and then Machan is also, we connected a few years ago. And then in the Upper Baram area, we have around 6-7 communities. Long Lamai is one, but there are also the other Penan communities. So these are somehow our learning labs where we go and connect with the community. These connections, actually, when we start connecting with these people and start reflecting on that, it was a time for us to realize that there is, during this cultural engagement, there is a narrative transformation. It's not only at the community level, but actually at our level. And this narrative transformation started from cross-cultural engagement, and how we actually depict that cross-cultural is like the fruits. I am banana, you are pineapple. I look to you from my perspective, you look to me from your perspective, and we coexist actually at the space. So usually, like, I still remember at the initial stage when, and even when we start connecting with the communities, so that type of aspect comes so much. And HCI information system is so much influenced from the cross-cultural studies. So yes, that thing is still existing and was there earlier also. Then we realized that at some point we also moved towards intercultural engagement, where banana and pineapple try to create together a shape of a cat. So this is the phase where actually we do deconstructing and reconstructing our narrative. We want to be good with community. We want to show community how much transformation can come in. And actually we realize that there are many more questions that we haven't yet addressed: sustainability, impacts. But then we start trying to show them something, and they want to show us some other picture. They deconstruct their own indigenous picture, and they try to reconstruct based on our expectation some different sort of a picture. Then the multicultural engagement and transformation also happens in many of the cases where we try to coexist together. It's a nice platter. We try to find our space. We recognize and acknowledge each other. Pineapple or grapes and other fruit, they coexist. When you taste it, you can pick individual fruit taste, or you can combine it. They are trying to create a space for each other. So it was the same in our cases also, that we found it that okay, our communities at the engagement level, they want to keep their stance. As a technologies interventionist, we are bringing our stance there, but they are still accepting us that okay, we can work together, don't worry, we will find, you don't lose your space, I don't lose my space, and that. But then we found this interesting concept. Yes, it was existed, of course, but that what Liz mentioned in her presentation also 1 or 2 days ago about this pluriversal design and pluriversal effect, that where there is a space or a word where many words meet together, or where many words exist. So it's like some sort of a smoothie. You can feel from which cultural stance you are there, but then it doesn't exist without this mixing with each other. So that's the point in our technology design where the community comes in and tell us that, oh, yes, this is whatever it is ours together. We both coexist on that. We both own it. So in those type of cases, and so when we were looking, if you want to read it more in detail, we have a paper on that from theoretical perspective, also from HCI, how the narrative changed along the way. What are our cases on that? We try to picture this, to position this paper in Namibian community and Sarawakian community, that how this thing happens. But then looking at it back actually at the community level, so for us as a researcher at the reflection part, that was a way, but at the community level we also try to work with community to really look at it, that what transformations happening on their side, to depict it. So this reflection exercise is very important in our work, because it connects us back to their history, to their culture, the change in their life which is happening. So for example, this is a depiction of Long Lamai, and yeah, you can see it that the quote is from Uncle Uda, who was the father of Ezra. So he said about it a very strong quote, that what actually technology means to Long Lamai, what what technology means to that indigenous communities. Not only technology, but every change and how that change happens. So we try to look at this from the 4 different perspectives. On one side is the timeline. So with the nomadic penance, the timeline from 1940 to 1980 was very important. And they were much more dependent on the oral and visual communication. But then the first wave of change happened, that they moved from nomadic life towards settled life. And the tension was where they tried to really sustain their relationship. Because nomadic life, you are in a small group, and suddenly now you are living in a 500 or 400 village. So how you can sustain that relationship in a big group was one of the big change actually we try to reflect on with the community and try to understand it. Then the second wave of change, where they moved from oral communication towards written communication. But then in terms of the second wave of change, that the indigenous epistemologies was transforming towards formal education. They started going to the schools. And then the permanent settlement happened. The cognitive and to maintain the shared understanding of contemporary world was one of the big challenge for that community from 1981 until 2008. That, okay, we are moving now to the next stage, but how this world look like to us, how we can work or how we can position ourselves in this world, that was another change for them. And then the third one was to the digital world. From 2009 onward, community got an access to internet. Suddenly their mode of communication start transforming totally from visual towards written and towards digital. And digital also opened up a space for them, that if they can skip the midpoint of written and they can also use more visual communication. So that was another interesting transformation. But in terms of the change was that they went from settlement to formal education, schooling start happening. Digital connection, migration is one of the big challenge for those communities where we are working currently. In terms of the social capital, when they start engaging with outside, especially with us, a new forms of governance structure needed. And we learned from Long Lamai how they have the different groups. Some group is working with the church, the other one is working with the school. But then there are a group for us, for researchers who need to guide us, so they have a governance structure on that. Our publication need to go through Ezra, or we need to go through someone who read it and reconfirm it, that okay, whatever the representation is in the publication, it is the right one. So that was another, so it is 2009 and onward. So I was emphasizing on this part. I also look at the time, okay, oh, it's 30 minutes, okay. so these two parts, that on one side that the transformation and the narrative change which was happening during the engagement on our side, but on the other side at the community, we try to also understand our transformation based on the historical change in the community, so we can better understand why it's important for the community. It's really important that they reflect back to look at it, what is happening in the village, because we are intervening. Our intervention is that, so if we are intervening, they also need to go back and start thinking about it. If you are not intervening for them, it's a normal life. The other part is that they want to engage and participate with us together. So there is the two things. I'm going to the next level of that now. Few examples what we are working on here in UTS. This is our favorite one. During COVID, we were really stuck. Daniel is here, I hope, with us. And with our Namibian and Finnish partners, we start working who is suffering really from the COVID. The kids' education was one of the major issue. So we were thinking, can we co-create and co-develop, co-design a platform for kids where they can come together and co-design whatsoever. They can conduct co-design session. Zoom was not helping, Skype was not helping, Miro was not for them. So we had, for 1.5 years, was 1 year and 6 months, 62 students from Finland, Namibia, and Malaysia working together, 3 PhD students, around 6 undergrad students. So we have 4 layers. Children as designers, our undergrad student as a developer, our postgraduate student to explore the research component, and on top of us, the professor who are helping them. So this project worked very well during COVID. We have a few publications on that. You can refer back it to later. And we will also have a workshop in Nordic Eye Conference this year for this project. The second one was a very close collaboration with Malmö University and Fouchau Gallery. You will also go later on to the Fouchau Gallery in terms of working together. That's the student from Malmö University and they were working together on and also with the community here to come up with a concept of digital museum, which we came up with a concept of digital museum. The only thing is now that Fouchau Gallery will have another meeting to actually think about it, that what should be our next step for that. And then after that is yes, Robbie's here. Yesterday the whole day was for us to talk about the connectivity and those things. So we look at this part, and here I'm with Rob and the team. We were meeting in Borneo Knowledge Fair. Start thinking about it. Oh, our problems are same Sarawak in Canada, so what we can work together. And for us to design this PACT program, which talk about policy, access, contents and tools, and then engaging the partner for that. So this is currently working all the way, and we are continuing. APC is there, APNIC is there. We are really hoping that ISOC will also be there. But one of the things that our undergrad student developed during this time is this interesting tool. If you have an access to mysite.site, so you can go to, myspeed.site. Anyone can go here, log in, and can test your internet speed. How it's going to help? There is Jendela map, which is portraying or which showing what is the internet speed at this different location in Malaysia. But this MySpeed is going to show you what the people are experiencing. So yesterday in our discussion, which we were talking about, 3 of the recommendation was coming from the user experience. This is one of the way, not the only way. This is one of the way. But this portal is going to help policymaker, regulator, that they can test. They can see what is the current experience of my user in terms of the speed. And then the last one is the net stethoscope is how. So this was another big problem for us always. In Long Lamai there is only one tower. If that tower is down, how the community is going to report? The only way is Isra need to get a boat for 2 hours to go to Long Banga. From Long Banga, he needs to take a flight or 8 hours drive to go to Miri, and then he's going to call to MCMC or any regulator that my tower is down. Now it's his luck that it's going to be someone pick on that side or not. So net stethoscope is going to help to connect that small device, which is developed by our team here, Jackson, Leo, they are here, our students. They developed this system that, okay, you connect it with the local tower or whatsoever your access point is, and it's going to ping the myspeed.site every 5 minutes. And at the regulator level, they can see what is the download and upload speed of that specific location. So if it is down, at least regulator will know for how much duration it was down. So you can see the last red points, actually that is the downtime of that one specific server. So no one is going to report, but then the regulators can see on their own sites. Okay, so our strategy, I still have few more minutes. So our strategy to engage in this whole project, when I came back to Borneo and to Sarawak, we were really thinking, okay Gary, how we are going to start? From where we are going to start? So one of our main point is, I always fascinated by the diversity of Sarawak. More than 60 languages, 60 tribes living together, social and cultural understanding is different, governance is different. So I was thinking that we can really position ourselves based on the past. One of the important aspects. The whole design discourse and HCI is full of steampunk's design and those things. So it was giving us not a lot of space why we want to base ourselves on the past. But this is the rich component of this space. And the moment I start talking about the past, the elders connect. Now I'm only worried about the future or about the present, but then also to connect that past with the real world problem, with today's problem. So that's one of the reasons for our student, actually, like Fuchao, Dennis, and those are my HCI students, that how I can bring them back. I have 90% of the students from Fuchao background. And when you call them what Fuchao means, that's totally blank on that. So one of the reasons is to let them bring back to the context, to the museum, so they can really understand that how much hard work their grandparents and parents did to bring them here. And Dennis and David has a very nice reflection on that in the Service Learning Conference. You can access it on slc.uts.edu.my to see that what is the Fuchao student reflection on engaging with their gallery. And now they are, I think, expert. Later on they will facilitate you there to tell you the story. Yeah. So the today's problem, the real world problem, the internet problem, actually is not allowing us to go to the very futuristic perspective of 5G or big data or those things. So our current focus is much more on really focusing on the past, try to understand the present. We will later on somehow go also to the future. But the second part is very important, is this universality to bring back to our educational discourse. So this is another aspect of us that actually we try to position ourselves in the service learning component, where if you can see in this picture, we have the three parts of, if I go back to here, so with our faculty member to reflect again and again to understand or expand our epistemistic capacities, to really better understand what participation means, what engagement means, what even community means. We don't have the same understanding. So to focus more and more on that, and then to train our staff. But the second level is also toward universality. We always go to the community, but can we also open our doors to our community members to come over here and talk? And it was fantastic yesterday to listening Adrian and Ezra and also Mac, how strong voices they are. So I think that is one of the space for us. We are still struggling. Even we have a very supportive vice chancellor, but the structures are still there. That can we have Ezra and Adrian as a visiting professor over in university, which is acknowledged by, because that they don't need, but we need that position for them here. So their knowledge come back to our classroom and they can talk to our crowd, because I can invite them one time, but we need that sustainability. So we need to push the structure somehow to open that space for community knowledge, for Mac, for Garen, for Ezra to come over to the classroom, and they have a position to talk to that. So that to bring that space instead of we always go to the community. And the last one is, of course, the expanding the boundary. That is one of another big challenge in the structure, in the academic structure in Malaysia. That of course we talk about communities a lot. We want to serve community, but communities are not yet part of our educational structures. So if I want to bring my laptop to community, I need to get an insurance, I need to get a permission, I need to fill 5 forms, then I need to establish that part there. The interesting thing is, when I establish that part there, like a building, no one is gonna look at that building back. If I have something here in the campus, I can dispose it of environmentally. But if I have a project there, and when the project ends, I leave the thing there. Now my burden went back to the community. Community will always be wondering what I'm going to do with this building, what I'm going to do with this project, where are you guys? So currently our structures are not yet open to expand the space and engage, consider those community also part of educational setup and university setup. We are working on that. The last one, our strategy is partnership and linking and networking. So we really need you again and again to come over to engage with us. We need that space. So if you come over, you talk to our young faculty member, you talk to our student, we will be always welcome you, because that is even in COVID, everyone realized it. To sustain or to really for the existing social connection is very important. And we already know for academic world to sustain ourselves and to more relate ourselves in this world, this network is very much important. I also have some course that how it is important for early career researcher to connect. So all the PhD students, my one advice for you will be, yes, you need a good supervisor, but you really need a good mentor. You really need a good mentor that is not your supervisor, but he can open or she can open the whole space for you. So yes, thanks to all my mentors. Yeah, and then what I mentioned about it, the words where the different words meet, Longnam I call it long. Where the two rivers meet, that's why it's long, because here the Lamai River and Balong River meets. So for us, this long is important. In our own language, we also have a traditional song on that. We don't have time, otherwise I would play that. Okay, so that long, to create that UTS a space, or Cebu as a space, as a long, where the different words, where your expertise, where all our partners come and meet together. Yes, we have yesterday these all events. The policymaker came, our international partners came, and we had, and then here our students came, our local partners. Aliza is coming from Unical, Masita is coming from UTM, Kath is coming all the way from Darwin. Wow. so yes, so thank you very much for that. Leonardo will talk today, and as I mentioned, Kath and Masita will also talk later on. We will have the session with Liz in Fuchao World Heritage Gallery, and the last one is that we are going tomorrow to Bawanga-san. After Leonardo's session, I will hand over the session to Gary and to Rani, who is here. I heard Rani got really good marks in her STPM, which is good. Congratulations, Rani. Yeah, so she will be here from Bawanga-san to welcome you, and we will hand over from today everything to Bawanga-san, who can take over. And we call it again, thanks for UNIMAST and all the team to organizing the eBorneo Knowledge Fair, which gave us the space for understanding the fair and how we can celebrate knowledge. We call our engagement with Bawanga-san tomorrow as a Pro-Universal Fair, where we accept the different words together and where we can combine the different words together. Thank you very much. I will be around. If you have any question, you can ask me later.